Alright, welcome to another math tutorial video. Now the topic of this video is in fact going to be multiplying three or more quantities. Now I have had a video of foiling just two quantities. This is whenever we got three or more. Now I may use the word foiling in this tutorial and I refer to it as foiling to my students sometimes. But this really isn't a foiling process, so I do just call it multiplying three or more quantities. Now, yet again, in case you are unfamiliar with what the word quantities means, that is just something like this, x plus 4, something like that. That is a singular quantity, a variable and a constant. Now, let me throw one more quantity in here. What should it be? 3x minus 2. That sounds good to me. And then, since it's three or more, we got to have that third one, right? I will make it 2x plus 1, something kind of simple. Why get too complicated with our first example, right? So let's say we have these three quantities we want to multiply. How are we going to do it? That's what we want to find out. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Go to my next page. Rewrite my problem. I don't know why I didn't just do this on this piece of paper first. Who knows? I shouldn't have wrote it on my title card. Oh well. I only wasted a couple seconds. So those are the three quantities that we are going to be multiplying right here. What you want to start off doing first is just foiling two of these quantities. If you have any questions about what foiling is, I do have a separate video about that. Check it out on my blog or my channel. Just so you can get a further explanation of that, because I'm probably going to do that process pretty quick here. So you can do the foiling with any of these two of these three quantities. Does not matter which one. As long as you follow this process out to the end, you'll get the same answer. I always just like to pick the first two. Why make it complicated and go with that one and that one or something? So let's foil these two. Now foiling first, outer, inner, last. Let's see, we are going to get x times 3x, so 3x squared minus 2x inside plus 12x, and last minus 8. I'm going to combine some like terms there, and we will get 3x squared plus 10x minus 8, right? So that is going to be our new equation, essentially, that we created from these two quantities. Now we still have that 2x plus 1, so I'm going to drop it right down to here. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because we have to deal with this quantity multiplying that quantity. We can't foil it in this case, unfortunately, due to the fact that there are three terms right here, and foiling just doesn't quite work whenever we have three terms in one of our quantities, if you can really call this a quantity anymore. So what we are going to do, what I personally like to do, is I run through each of these numbers and multiply each one individually by the first part of this second quantity. After that, I will add on to my answers to each of those three by running through these same three numbers again with the second part of this quantity. That may sound a little bit confusing, just me speaking it, so let's go ahead and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'll begin by multiplying 3x squared with 2x. Now that will give me 6x cubed, right? And because we're multiplying those x's and the 3 and the 2. So then I'm going to move on to this 10x, and I'm going to multiply it by 2x as well. So 10x and 2x is in fact going to give me 20x squared. You always got to be careful about keeping your powers in line. The simplest mistake I see any students make on this kind of problem is just forgetting to multiply those x's in addition to the numbers. So you always got to keep that on track. Now lastly, what we're going to do here, at least on this first part, is multiply our last part of this equation, the negative 8, by this 2x. So that is going to be negative 16x. Keeping that negative sign right there, got to remember that. So we've done these first three numbers by this 2x. We're not done yet, but it does essentially knock that 2x out of the equation. We just got to deal with this positive 1 now. So we're going to do the same process, this one, then this one, then this one, all multiplied by just 1. Now that's a pretty simple multiplier, right? So let's see how this goes. So we are going to take 3x squared times 1, and we're just going to add it right on. We are going to keep moving with this equation, and we'll combine our like terms later. So 3x squared, and then we have 10x times 1. I'm just going to keep writing right down here so I can keep this in frame. 10x, and then negative 8 times 1 minus 8, right? I'm going to scoot this paper up a little bit. We'll combine our like terms right down here. Do remember this is just a continuation of that top equation so you don't get confused. Now, we have 6x to the third. When we're combining our like terms, we can only combine those numbers that have variables to the same power. There is no other third power x. But there are a couple of x to the second. There are 2 of those. We have a 20 and a positive 3. We can combine those into a plus 23x squared. Just like we have multiple of just a singular x. Now that is a negative 16x and a positive 10. So we can combine that into a minus 6x. And then we just have that one constant. We're never going to have more than one constant. We don't got to combine those in this multiplying problems. So here's our answer. 6x to the third plus 23x squared minus 6x minus 8. That is the process of how we multiply 3 quantities. Now this same idea applies even if there's more than 3. Let's say there's 4. If there was a 4th one all the way up here, we still had to multiply that by like x minus 7. We can drop it down right here, x minus 7. I know I'm going off screen. But you can drop it right down here, and you do the same process as we had whenever we were multiplying these. You do this one times the first part, this one times the first part, this negative 6 times the first part, negative 8 times the first part. And then you move on to the second one, and you do 6x to the third times the second part, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. You just keep doing that until you have run through all of those quantities that you have to multiply. So I will do one more quick example just so that we can make sure everybody's on the same page here. And it's always good to have more than one example in a video, right? So let's see. I will do x plus 9. Let's get a bigger number there. Why not? Then let's do x plus 4. And then 2x minus 1. This isn't going to be too bad of an example. This will be pretty easy, right? So let's go ahead and FOIL these first 2 quantities. X times x will be x squared. Outer x times 4x plus 4x plus 9x. And then, oh gosh, what? Plus 36. We'll simplify that, of course. X squared plus 13x plus 36 as our result of the foiling those first 2 quantities. And then we still got to multiply it by 2x minus 1. I just realized that's almost the exact same quantity I had in the first one, isn't it? That didn't even click. Hey, this is a minus, though, instead of a plus. So there's that difference. So let's go ahead and run through this. We will begin by multiplying the x squared by 2x. 2x to the third. Then we'll multiply that 13x by 2x plus 26x. And then finally here for the first part, we'll multiply that 36 by 2x, and that's going to give us 72, right? 72x. Ooh, I forgot that squared there. Yet again, you got to watch out for that. That happens all the time, even to people like me, even to you, even to everyone, I'm sure. Something to watch out for. Okay, so we finished the first part. We knocked out that 2x part. Now we got to deal with this negative 1. Yet again, you always got to remember that sign right there, that negative. So x squared times negative 1, that is going to turn that into a negative x squared. So we continue on with our equation here, keeping that sign, minus x squared since it was negative. We have a positive 13x times negative 1. Yet again, negative 13x. And lastly, we have the 36 times negative 1 minus 36. I know I'm going off screen. This is my bad habit here, right into the edge of the paper when it's not on camera. But we got that minus 36 down there. So I'm going to go ahead and pass back over to here. We'll combine our like terms. There shouldn't be anything else here with the highest power. That's a good check to always know if you're right. There should only be one of the highest power of x here. In this case, it is the third. There's only one of them. Now we should have 2 of the x to the seconds. Of course, we do have plus 26x and then minus 1x squared. So that is going to give us plus 25x. Of our just individual x values, we have plus 72x and minus 13x. So 72 minus 13, I hope I'm not writing the wrong number here, plus 59x, right? And then we just do have that one singular constant as we always will, minus 36 in this case. So our final answer is going to be right here, 2x to the third plus 25x plus 59x minus 36. Simple as that. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below or at my blog, mrmathclass.blogspot.com. I'm more than happy to help anybody out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.